You know how some of your camp trips are super laid back and other ones are really busy? Maybe you're busy because it's a long travel trip and so you've got a lot of days of consecutive travel. Maybe it's a trip where you are doing a ton of activities during the day and you just don't have time for making dinner at night. Well, today I'm at home preparing for one of those really busy trips, and I'm going to be making a beef roast in my crock pot, which I am going to reinvent into a ton of meals on this upcoming trip. You can make so many things with this. Tacos, casseroles, salads, pastas. Today, we're only using 2 ingredients. If you want to count salt and pepper, it's 4. Basically, it's a chuck roast and beef stock. We're gonna salt and pepper, turn it on, about 8 hours on low, about 5 hours on high. I see my cat that is over there climbing on my kitchen table right now. Anyway, we're cooking at home. I'm gonna go ahead and open up my pot, put the meat right in the pot. We are seasoning with fresh black pepper, and then we're gonna season with a little bit of salt. Then we're gonna take the beef stock and we're gonna pour it into the pot on the side so that we are not disturbing any of that salt and pepper that we just put on there. We're gonna cover it. And since I am a little late in starting it for the day, I'm gonna cook it on high instead of low. And come back and check things. Should be done in about 5 hours. On to packing for our trip. It's 5 hours later and it's getting dark, and that's because I didn't start early enough. We will have this in the freezer by, I don't know, midnight tonight. I'm going to double check to make sure that this is fork tender before I actually turn it off and start to shred it. It smells really good. Look at that, it's super tender. I'm gonna turn the machine off. I'm gonna take the whole roast out. This is where I'm gonna shred, and then this is gonna be my fat plate. I like to kind of break it apart at first with this bigger fork, and then you can start to see where the big chunks of fat are, and they're easiest to kind of get them out before you really start shredding. A little bit of fat in there doesn't matter. Most of that will cook off when you do your reheat. I'm gonna work my way through the whole roast. As I'm doing that, it's cooling, and then I'm gonna put it in one of my freezer bags. Label it, it'll go in the freezer. And remember, we didn't season. All we did was add a little salt and pepper and some beef stock. When we go to use it, maybe we want to do like a barbecue sauce and do pulled beef barbecue sandwiches, or maybe we want to do Mexican quesadillas. That's the beauty of going with a meat that is seasoned with just salt and pepper and a little bit of stock. You can create any other flavor you want. We are done shredding and defatting. So now I'm going to layer this out and let it begin to cool and decide how many portions I want to get out of this. I kind of just eyeball it and say, hey, if we're gonna do, let's say, pulled beef barbecue sandwiches, and I want to put like, I don't know, about that much meat on each sandwich. Out of this, I'm gonna be able to get 6 sandwiches. I might want to do something else with them, like little taquitos, and then I sort of just portion that way. I'm gonna say, this is gonna give me 3 equal portions. I'll just portion it out here because it's easier when it's all sort of laid out. This is all the fat that I got out of it. That's kind of a lot, and the awesome thing about this is it's already cooked. The waste is already taken out of this, and when I put this in the bags, they're gonna be nice and compact, and it's all usable. There's still some of the beef broth with fat and grease in that too that it cooked in. If I wanted to, I could skim off the fat and put it in the bag with this and freeze it that way, and then I don't have to add liquid when I reheat and reinvent into whatever. But I don't necessarily want the liquid in everything I do, so I'm gonna just put it in dry. If I want to add some additional liquid in the cooking process when I reheat and reinvent, then I'll just add some more, which could be water, beer, broth, barbecue sauce, buffalo sauce. So like if you're adding a sauce, you don't want that extra liquid to be saved with this. That's what I'm gonna do. Dry, 3 packages, and then I'm gonna throw it in the freezer, label it, it'll be ready to defrost. The nice thing is too, that when it is smaller portions and they're frozen flat in one layer, they defrost really quickly, so you don't have to have a lot of lead time. I'm gonna create my bags. I don't know what people did before they did these sealers. Actually, I do use Ziplocs too. The reason I like these is because they suck the air out and it's a really nice tight seal for the freezers. If the food is sitting in there for a while, it's gonna last a little bit longer than if you just put it in a Ziploc. If you do a Ziploc, put the food in, make sure that you squeeze the air out before you actually seal the bag. That helps to make sure that there's not air in there, which is the thing that causes the freezer burn. Other little gadgets that I like so much, which hold the bags for me when I'm filling them. I'm gonna load the bags. This stuff has been sitting here while I've been working on the bags. It's pretty cool. It's almost ready to go into the freezer right away. Just drop them in there. If I had to guess what my husband would want me to make with this first, it's either gonna be some kind of burritos or some kind of barbecue sandwich. Today, while this was cooking for 5 hours, I was doing laundry from our last trip, restocking a bunch of stuff in our trailer. It was a great way to get all these meals cooked while I got a whole lot of other things done. I'm gonna just take this, flatten it out as much as possible, going into the freezer now, and it'll be ready for our next trip. Make sure that you visit my website for the recipe, plus ideas on how you might be able to reinvent this. Don't forget to subscribe